Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday. Welcome to your view. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. YK, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
I love the
good
red
morning.
and white.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You've gone back home, obviously. When we see new colors, you know you are back at the house. Anyways, anything interesting?
Yes. I just wanted to commend Nima, actually,
right,
because she has decided to stay off the show for 2 weeks because she's been exposed to...
She may have been.
She may have been exposed, yeah, to COVID-19. Please don't forgive me, I'm a supporter of, you know, so I call it that.
Okay.
But if everybody did that, acted responsibly, then we would actually stop the spread. Because she's gone for a test to make sure and then she's now taking the mandatory 14 days isolation. So I think it's very commendable for her to decide not to come and give us.
You know why I'm laughing? I didn't want to tell the producers anymore because I thought that Nima should tell the producer directly, not knowing that YK was going to tell Nigeria. I was telling the producer, I said, has Nima called you? They said, no. I said, okay, I'll wait till Nima calls you and tells you directly. So I didn't want to break it. YK has broken the news to Nigeria. Okay, yeah, so you're right.
Oh,
she is.
Okay.
Because we actually also applauded you when you got back from the UK, which is great. So that's the idea. Nigerians must respect the fact that if you take ownership and then stay back, you don't spread it. All of us can then reduce.
Then we can just reduce the numbers. I mean, Lagos, we have 5,000 cases, over 5,000 cases. Come on.
Yeah.
Inside 11,000.
There are people who don't believe that it exists. Can you imagine? There are people who have with that conversation.
How you doing, man?
I'm fine. I'm just excited. My brother bought me this wonderful contraption. So everybody has been doing IG live interviews, blah, blah, blah. The one I had, this tripod, just never worked. So I was just gisting him and he says, okay, I have a birthday gift for you a month ahead. And he got me this massive, beautiful thing with ring light, with remote control. I'm like, whoa! It's like, I'm telling you, I'm like, see, I'm going to do, you guys are going to see me live every day now.
What are you supposed to be doing with that?
Videos. So like the Instagram live and everything everyone does.
Okay.
So I have a fancy thing to do mine with. I can be away from the thing and have my remote and take pictures with my remote, like lights come on. I'll be so excited.
I can't wait to see that.
Give me that one. It's just a waste of money because to post pictures go on Instagram is work.
They've indoctrinated me that I don't like to do like share is on my case, on my neck right now.
And you're so natural at it.
Yeah. Sorry?
I mean, you're so good and natural at it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Interestingly, have you bought watermelon recently? No. Watermelon and cucumbers are the best things to buy now. They are so delicious. Every single watermelon I bought since last week, every single one has been nice and red and juicy. Okay. And the cucumbers, usually, you know, cucumbers can be very, can have that taste that you don't want to have them. But right now, they're actually really nice.
Maybe they're in season. I think they're against that thing that she does, keto.
She doesn't.
I'm not doing keto.
But she won't eat watermelon, so it's only me you are
but I'll eat cucumbers.
Yeah, so the cucumbers are nice. They're really nice. I mean, I could actually finish a whole...
Cucumber is a fruit, too.
It's a vegetable.
It is a fruit just because it's green.
Anything
Anything that has
vegetable.
seeds.
It's a vegetable.
Yeah, we heard that.
Okay, fruit and vegetable is transgender.
But it's a good time to buy watermelons. Trust me. I mean, I've really enjoyed them. And it's now an evening ritual in our house. After dinner, then 7:38, everybody now comes together and now start cutting the watermelons. Even the baby now is eating watermelon.
But is it better to take fruits before food? Isn't it before food or after food?
Well, I have my food digested first, so we're done with dinner by 6.
Okay.
So we live like 2 hours. So by 7:38, before we go to bed, we now have that water. Yes, that's like our final thing for the night. But
it's cool. Good. Maybe you'll lose weight again.
I've lost 2.2 kg, Mike.
Yeah.
Wow. Last week. I'm working on it. 2.2.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'll see.
YK, you need to show those pictures that you sent us. See, YK has worked out now. She has like six packs. She's got ridges on her abs and everything. I'm like, hey. I can never show my abs.
You need to post that.
You have definitely inspired me. And when I've made those ridges on my abs, I'll send you a picture.
Okay, let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll go to the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, let's start with Punch. Another student raped, killed in Oyo. Ekiti hawker defiled. Amnesty asked president to declare rape national emergency. Aisha Buhari seeks speedy action on cases. Atiku W. Erewa also react. Family demands justice over radio presenter's death in church during childbirth. 2 health workers among 5 others killed. Sorry, actually, 2 health workers among 5 Ekiti COVID-19 cases, actually. That's the point of that. Oshomale should not be involved in Edo governorship primaries, says Obaseki. Suspected herdsmen killed 22 in Benue and southern Kaduna. Worship centers, GNI says PTF guidelines difficult. Catholic faults continued closure. Okay, let's start with the major headline. I mean, it's all over the papers.
Yeah.
Yes, you have that.
Okay, you have it. Go on.
Okay, so an 18-year-old girl, a student of Federal College of Animal and Production Technology, Moore Plantation in Ibadan, was raped and hacked to death, and this happened in her home. Her father and her sister were not home, and the sister said she got back and was looking for her sister and finds her behind the house, and it looked like she had been raped and she had cuts all over her body. And just another sad story. So in
addition to that, another girl from Ekiti State.
Yes, a 17-year-old hawker in Ekiti State was also raped by 3 men, you know. So this is the story that we're hearing a lot of recently. So people are saying, is it that because there's a lockdown, it is more obvious to us? Or is it that people have just become so idle and they are getting up to no good?
I even wanted to say a medical doctor from UK tweeted about it. Barakat Bello was alone at home, and what she said was she is a Muslim hijab sister. Yeah. You people that come up with excuses for rape.
What's your excuse?
What's your excuse this time?
Yeah.
That sometimes you keep saying, oh, it's the way she dressed.
It was where she was.
Okay, this one was covered up. Right. So what's the excuse this time?
Okay, let's speak one more story, the human interest story, the lady that died at the church.
Yeah, the Olorun, she was a DJ with, she worked with the Faji radio station in, I can't remember which state, was it Oyo State?
I think this is,
well, anyway, her parents, she was pregnant, and the Mrs. Tawakalitu had said she should come to the church, and her mother was like, no, don't come to the church. She said, Then suddenly the mother now hears she's in the church, and the mother was like, give me my daughter. So she went to report her to the cherubim leader, and the Tawakalitu denied it, that no, she's not in my church. Oh. So they left it. But then she now gets a call, the sister now gets a call that come and collect your sister. And she gets there, sees her sister in the car, her dead sister in the car. And she went to the police station. They went and arrested the lady who gave a false name.
Right. But when I read the story earlier,
prophetess of that church. So she's supposed, you know how people will go to and meet the
But
pastor.
what was interesting about the story was that, according to the mother, had sent her packing because her husband, they were living in her own house with 3 other children. And when her husband came back from South Africa, he said, he can't come and join you here. You guys can find somewhere else. So because of that, she allegedly sent her out. Then the prophetess took her in. Okay, I'll help you out. I'm not sure why people go to prophetesses for delivery. I'm not sure why that happens.
I think it was for help. Although the mother says that I didn't send her packing. This is what happened. But she gave her, I guess she gave her a place to stay. That's why she went there.
Let's move on to the nation. Churches, mosques open in Kwara, Osun, Kano, and Benue. Student killed after rape in Ibadan. We talked about that. Oji Uzokalu back home. Ezeyamu 4 others to battle Baseki. FG OK's 148 billion naira refund to Osun, Ondo, 3 others. Airlines get set for June 21st flight resumption. Let's start with the major headline. These conditions are exactly listed out here. According to the papers, or the PTF said, 1-hour church service, 20 minutes Islamic sermons and prayers, attendance to be a 3rd center capacity, 65 years are advised to stay home to worship, social distancing must be obeyed, wearing of mask compulsory, Muslims to perform ablution at home.
So let's just give them a place to come and hang out. I mean,
1 hour. I mean, I don't understand. So how do you do a service for 1 hour? Well, our redeem service, like, praise and worship alone is like 30 minutes. Before you now pray. After prayer, you now do
your praise and worship at home, then come and pray in church. That's it.
I don't know how it's going to work, though.
So Wadume's case, we do remember Wadume, and it's finally gotten to the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. And it's that same story. It's been going on for nearly 2 years. Okay, over a year now, get into the second year. And so we just hope that finally justice will be served concerning Wadume. We do remember the Wadume story, the man who was a kidnapper and, you know.
And the army. Story, what happens is that the police are complaining that the army has refused to produce these suspects. And so the court has said, you must provide this men to face the courts. And that's where that story is. Moving on to Daily Sun. Obaseki bombs Oshoma. Kalu out of Kuje Correctional Center. Security, we are short of manpower funding, says Defense Minister. Vera Omozua says NAN holds mega solidarity rally in Benin. And postponing Edo-Ondo elections may lead to constitutional crisis, says INEC. Let's start with Obaseki story. I read that story. And you know, you thought that I actually thought that we were trying to resolve this until I now saw today's headlines that Obaseki is insisting, saying that it was actually Oshoma that betrayed the party and that he funded Oshoma becoming governor at the time because Oshoma didn't have a penny when he came from Labour. So he funded and supported him for 8 years without one kobo. And yes, Oshoma also helped him with obviously with the support, political support and political machinery to get into his office. So it's not it's obviously
not a father-son. It's a symbiosis.
And that he needs to recuse himself from the process because you cannot be the judge in your own case. So move away from the process and let the people decide who becomes the candidate for the APC. That's actually sums up the story.
I saw a video yesterday where Oshoma was criticizing Eze Yamu. Is that his name? The
candidate, the preferred candidate.
The preferred candidate, because he was PDP at that time. And now, so I'm wondering.
They say there are no permanent
enemies in politics.
Just permanent interests.
Okay, he hasn't come out to say that, but I think that video was just an old video, I believe, that was trending. It wasn't recent. Okay, let's move on to...
No, that's an old video. That's what I'm saying. But I'm hearing that he's the preferred candidate.
Now. So they've changed their mind. They always change their minds. It's not politics.
But the Abisi gapped him in that video.
Okay, let's move on to Vanguard.
It was not easy.
Steer clear of Edo Primary. Obaseki tells Oshoma. We discussed that already. Clark writes Lawan Baja requests probe into NDDC allegations against National Assembly members. Another student, 18, raped to death in Ibadan. FG refunds 148 billion naira bars states from further repairs of federal roads. Okay, which story are we taking here? I think it was the Honorable Minister of Information was saying that, listen, all the states that said they have been repairing federal roads, okay, the first batch, I think it was 31 states got out of over 500 billion refund at some point. But now the other states that did not have the right documentation, that's Oshun and a few others, have now provided the documentation to prove that indeed they spend their own state funds to repair federal roads. So they've refunded them the 148 billion that's outstanding. They're now saying, going forward, those states, don't touch our roads. Don't come and start telling us that you want us to refund you. Leave our roads alone and we'll fix it ourselves.
They should come and do our road in Kini. It took a 15-minute journey today. It took me about 40 minutes.
Which road is that?
Alagbole. The bad road. Bad road.
You see, wait, okay, there are two parts of the road.
Now, that's a state road.
That major one is being fixed, but it's not completed, right?
Which one?
There's a part, that long one, before you get to your area.
That one, they just put the bridge. When they were putting the bridge, they dabarooed the whole road to put the bridge. So now, the bridge is there, but the road is bad.
Yeah. They need to come and fix that. Okay, let's take a final paper.
Everywhere, the whole it's terrible. It's terrible.
I can't take a normal car to your house. Like last time I went, I wanted to die.
My car the noise that my car is making now. I do have money to buy.
I don't even know how you pass that area. It's terrible.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know. Let's take our final paper, Daily Trust. Katsina peace deal with bandits collapse. I think that's the only story we've not taken there. Go ahead.
Okay, so Katsina State has said that the amnesty deal with the bandits has finally collapsed. And in an interview with the SSG to the government was saying, see, these people cannot be trusted. You know, first, there are just a few of them that can be trusted. They are used to kidnapping and cattle rustling. And then they are armed with over 300 youths on, under their control. These are not people that you can control. So obviously this is not working. They have gone ahead to, I think they were attacking about 8 in the beginning, and they've gone ahead to add even much more local governments that they have attacked. So obviously this is the end, and he's asking that the only thing that would work is for the federal government to make sure they face these bandits head on, drop your weapons, and that's the only way we can get peace. I guess a lot of Nigerians had said this thing was never going to work, but the governor was trying to look for different ways to see how it works. I think also Zamfara signed this peace deal with the bandits, and let's hear what he has to say.
Okay, let's go on a break. That's all we can take from Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll continue with the show. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday we started a discussion, actually all week. We've been talking about this issue of the lady who reportedly continually was sexually assaulted in the public transport. That was yesterday, from Abuja up the way to Akure. And we were connecting and linking that up with the fact that Uwa was killed in the church. And now we're hearing about Barakat and the other girl, I don't know, she doesn't have a name yet, the girl from Ekiti, who was a hawker. And more stories are coming up online concerning rape. So we're discussing rape this week, whether you like it or not, because obviously that's a story Nigerians are talking about. And many people are calling their rapists out on social media. People are saying that, listen, those who raped me, you must actually face the law. So, I mean, now, there are allegations. We can't mention their names on television because we don't know. It doesn't be proven in the court of law. But the truth is that many people are calling others out. And today we're going to be inviting with us an emotions doctor, Oyinkansola Alabi. I'm not sure she's on the line now. Oyinko, are you there? I think we'll get to her. We'll get to her a bit later. But going back to this issue, I know we started this conversation yesterday, and Waike, it was pretty hot, and I just wanted to continue on this matter. The fact that a young girl was on her way from Abuja to Akure, and she was literally, a man was touching her all the way, almost touching her underwear. And she was asking the driver, telling all the passengers to help her. The reason why, because I called her afterwards, the reason why she even kept quiet afterwards was the fact that she doesn't want a situation whereby these men can get angry and then gang rape her somewhere, because nobody knows she's here. So she just kept quiet till she got to Akure.
No, she talked to a soldier at the police at the checkpoint, remember?
Yes.
And that one also told her to shut up, basically, and continue her journey.
What is surprising me, I'm looking at the video and I'm wondering, what pleasure is he getting from that? What pleasure? Is it just the pleasure? Is that just the dominating? Yeah, I can do it and nothing can happen. Yeah. It's
when we were talking about this thing the other day, Waike, somebody was saying, why do some men rape? And we'll go to the men factor and we'll go to the women factor, because they're both sides. The men factor, the fact that somebody was saying, and these are different people's opinions, saying that a lot of men have low self-esteem. Many of them are not economically empowered. They don't have the confidence to approach you. In fact, many of them, there's a certain age a man gets to that he feels that I must get laid. And when he's not getting laid because nobody wants to talk to you, you don't feel attractive, you have a low self-esteem, they then feel like, oh, no, I'm going to take this thing by force. So for them, that is one reason why men at that level begin to feel as if, don't you, this one that I'll approach and she tell me that, who are you, who do you think you are? I will show you that I am a man. And then they rape, they take it by force. That's another hand. And that one is that men have that dominant nature. They want to feel like I'm superior to you, and I'm going to show you that superiority. Because I still ask the question, even if you rape, must you kill? That's where I am confused. Yes, you have raped because of you don't have low self-esteem. Yes, you don't have.
Right.
But why must you kill? That's where they don't answer that question.
I don't even have that question. That even if you rape, there's no even for me that.
There's no answer to that question because
no even
unless you are living in the mind of the person who did the killing, you cannot know. But I wanted to say two things. When I was in school, when I was young, I'm talking 41 years ago or more, we used to hear a lot about gang raping of girls. When you go to the inter-house sports, you would go back to school that they gang raped this girl, 8 of them, you know. And I remember at that time always wondering and never ever thinking, I mean, I knew it was bad, but never thinking they should face the law.
They've become...
You know, we just used to hear it. So was gang raped. We just look at her pitifully. But these boys never got... some of them, we know them. Some of them, I know them like this. That's gang rape. Because there was one particular one who was very famous in those days as a gang raper.
Wow. Are you for real?
And I used to go to his house, you know, just regularly, because if I'm walking past, I'll just stop. If I go and say the name on TV.
Don't mistakenly say his name on TV.
So for you, it was someone you knew who also gang raped.
So I used to wonder, when I hear he's gang raping, boy, you never gang raped me. You say, you are fella's daughter, you will not try it, you will die. You know, so... But now that I'm older, I'm just thinking, man, that guy was a criminal. He was a criminal because he was... There were so many of them, that there were a set of them that we knew. They were doing it to these girls regularly.
You see, this is very eye-opening.
That's why we say the culture of rape. It's become a culture because it's part of the way of life. It's like an induction into adulthood somewhat. A young person rapes somebody just... Because I know somebody, I'll come to you, Mariam. I know somebody who he wanted to lose his virginity, and the first person that came to mind was a house help. So he planned with his sisters.
Lord God.
And they held down the poor girl. The 2 sisters held down the poor girl. And right there, he raped her. This I know of. Not gist, I know of.
Disgusting.
So, as I said, it has almost been almost ingrained in us that, listen, it's normal. It's like a passage. What boys do, especially when you cannot get it, what boys do.
That's what I'm saying. Even in this, when I was younger, you know, there are a lot of girls that we knew that were, and no, they never faced any.
You know, sometimes
offense. They were criminals. Let's even be honest. You know, a lot of them are in society today and respected human beings in society today.
That's why they're not coming up now.
Because they know what their past was.
Because if they talk, people say, anyway. So they're all keeping quiet.
So you see, it's very important to always have like a background story. So for me, what Wike has said to me right now is mind-blowing and eye-opening, because we always feel that it's the young people. It's nowadays. This is how they are, these bad people, this new crop of this new generation that don't have values. But it's because this generation is expecting much more than their parents were being dished out. So we now understand our rights. We understand what it is that we will take and what we will not take. That's why it's coming. So this has been a part of our culture. I used to hear about, even when we were in school, we would hear about girls gang raped too, or she went for a party and this particular girl had her drink spiked and she was raped, or someone slept with her and then all the boys had to stay and watch. We didn't see the boys as bad people. We saw the girl as a bad girl. Do you understand? It was her fault.
Because she went out.
Exactly, it was her fault. Because you were lucky enough not to have been in that position at that time. You looked at the guy, it was her fault. And now we are having the right conversations. And that is why I was saying yesterday that obviously our young people have been taught wrong. It is the older ones, and a lot of people have been saying, where are all the older men? Why are you not speaking up? And as you said, because this was how they, their own passage to adulthood, this is what they saw, this is what they did. How else would they tell their children?
There's one guy, this is another guy that's respected in society today. He's even very snooty and everything. He doesn't greet. Was telling me one day, one-on-one, I can never go, was sitting in a restaurant with my sister.
During commercial break, you have to tell us the person's name. During commercial break, you have to tell us. Go ahead.
So he said, women actually enjoy being raped.
For real?
Think in the deep recesses of your mind, you know, it's a pleasure. I looked at him, I was shocked. I looked at him. I was shocked. I was silent. Not only was I shocked, I was silent because I now started to question myself. Do they enjoy? You know, it sounded so weird to me.
It's African culture that has a girl going to the farm or the stream, and then a gang of men will carry her and take her to a man's house and say she's married. That's it. It's in our it's ingrained in our culture, and we are.
So we'll go on a break. We'll go on a break because I want us to.
Are we going on a break?
We're going on a quick break. You wanted to make a point before I go?
I wanted to just tell you a word of advice to ladies who find themselves in this kind of situation. Is if you find your assailant, just go limp. Okay. Just go limp. The rapist gets the pleasure of you fighting. That's because when I was younger, I was a thief. When I say a thief, I like to go and be chopping people's money. You know, go and eat chicken peri-peri here and there. And this day, I went there. Every time we go, I'll go with my friend. He would just dash us money. 500 naira at that time was big money. Let's go and see this man. 500 naira. So this day, the man says it's a lie. This I must do you. Come and see me that day. I was struggling, and the more I struggled, then I just went limp. And he just got off.
Excitement started off. Okay, let's go on a break. We're going to bring in an emotions doctor because that could be a technique we could learn, but we'll talk to our guests after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue of rape in Nigeria, and we have joining us an emotions doctor, Oyinkansola Alabi. Good morning, Oyinkansola. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yes, good to have you on the show. So this matter has been on all week, and everybody's been talking about it. And we'd like you to help us out on a few things.
Okay.
How, first of all, understanding the male factor in this regard. What goes through the mind of a rapist? What makes a man a rapist, or what makes a person a rapist? I mean, I heard that boys are being raped these days too. So either a man or woman, what are those emotional breakdowns that's happened in their lives that could have caused them to become rapists? That's one. Secondly, a young lady who's been raped and is trying to get the pieces of her life back together. How does she begin to put that in place to have a very, very fruitful life ahead of her?
Very well, thank you so much. I would like to lay a foundation, which is the fact that when we're looking at why people act in certain ways or do certain things, we need to look past the content into the structure. In any situation, there are three distinct structures in action. The first is the biological structure, which is the fact that we're dealing with parenting here. So if we're talking about biological structure, I would look at how we have been raised. So let's look at Nigeria as our context. So how were we raised in Nigeria? Or, yes, how do we raise our kids? It is either we are raising them or we are erasing them. Now, when I was growing up, almost 4 decades now, when I was growing up, it was very instructive that even at the time that I was 12 or 13, I knew what it was, or I'd heard the statement, you are going to your husband's house repeatedly. I doubt that my brother heard that statement that you would be housing or you will be somebody's husband, somebody's husband repeatedly. So we wired women to understand that one day they would be owned, acquired, they would be married to whatever it is. And then the boys have this level of superiority complex that, okay, women are expected to submit to us and then they are second-class citizens. So from my biological structure, I will gravitate to cultural structure, which is the main thing here, which is culture. If you look at Nigeria, so what exactly is a culture? What exactly is a culture? A culture is a survival kit that we are handed over to or we inherit at birth. And then when we're talking about culture, you're talking about language, art, habitat, history, everything. Nigeria's culture is extremely patriarchal. A situation where men a good number of men, I would not say all, no, I would not even use the word most, but a situation where some men see women as supposed to be penetrated, not humans to be respected. And from that programming, engineering, and wiring, you will see reactions. So when we're talking about the mind of a rapist, you are considering the biological structure, cultural structure, individual structure. So if the first two fail, then the individual has some level of capacity to rewire himself. And then by the time you look at the first three, the moment they fail, you know you are dealing with an epidemic, which is where we are now. Wow. So from who raised them or who erased them to the culture that we have, even till now, it is so funny that 10 years ago, I remember joining a movement about say no to rape. 10 years after, the hashtag is still trending. And then you will see some men say to you that, what exactly are you fighting about? Because for them, it is normal. So what is this noise about? The noise is about the fact that they have no understanding. They don't see anything wrong. In fact, somebody said something on Facebook some days ago that somebody called my attention to, which is the fact that he said, I can't wait to have a girl child so that when her mother is not around, I will be sleeping with her. God, Lord.
Oh. I mean, I don't even know what it's... Go ahead, Mariam.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I agree with you. I think many, it seems like many, I don't know about the whole world, but many Nigerian men don't seem to understand the concept of rape. I would never forget, about 2 years ago, I was on a march with a group of young girls because, and they were talking, it was consent, maybe it's not consent. They were talking about consent and rape. And we're all, it was a Saturday, so we're all dressed in gym outfits. And this man walking past was like, look at how you're dressed. Why wouldn't they rape you? So in his mind, a girl dressed in gym outfits is calling for it. So, and that's my own conversation. Why is it hard for men to understand that it's not about how she looks, where she is, how old, or, you know, why don't they get that it's about the person that commits the act, that's the problem? Why is this so hard for Nigerian men to get that?
Okay, so there are three flavors of rapists. And then I would explain why I think it's hard for them to understand or comprehend. There are three flavors of rapists. The first one is the power rapist. The one who rapes because he has been wired, engineered, and raised to think that he has more power, and the more he can subdue, suppress, and oppress, the more respect that he gets. The second will be the anger rapist, someone who targets a particular person just to humiliate, to debase, and hurt her. And then the final one is the sadistic rapist. But all of these three, there's another driving factor that I think we need to pay attention to, which is the fact that we have become a sexually addicted generation.
How? What does that mean?
So about 2-3 years ago, a lady did a research report on how Nigerians are addicted to sex. And part of what she said, which is also on Google, is the fact that when you're looking at porn consumers all over the world, Nigeria ranks number 2. And we do not just rank number 2, we are number 2 in at sections like gay porn, we're number 2 in rape porn. So it looks like we even have our favorites, like we have our preference. So when people watch porn or are addicted to porn, I remember during the last lockdown, for example, but this is not limited to just the lockdown, but remember during the lockdown, it looked like people did not have a way or a means to express themselves or whatever it is. But this is not limited to it. And then, but we had internet, we had time. So I am trying to look at what must have happened psychologically. And we are wiring and wiring. And then these gentlemen then see the next lady or the next girl, and they want to play out their sexual fantasies.
Okay, now, so there are a few things I would like us to touch on, because since Monday, I think I've been trying to see if we can call men out, responsible men, to speak, because they're listening to you right now, and they're thinking, another woman is talking. What are they saying? Women are talking again. But we need more men to speak like you. We need more men to analyze the situation and speak, and let us see them speak, because it does something to the psyche of young men to understand. Why is it so difficult to get a Nigerian men to come out boldly to speak against rape? I don't know why. I've been trying to call men out to do it, and I haven't been quite successful at it.
I'm sure there are a handful, but you know, before somebody will show up to speak, they must check their archive and history.
Abi, to be sure they are clean, it's true.
Archive and history, because there are two flavors here. We're discussing sexual assault and rape. So sexual assault is without penetration. Rape is with penetration. So if any gentleman wants to show up, that means that his archive has none of those two. His hands are clean.
We got to give them that challenge.
Yeah. So then,
his hands are clean. Of course, there will be quite a handful, and maybe many actually. But then they need to sit down and look at their lives from ages 5 to 40 or 45 to 50.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then the question will be that then to ask for how do we deal with it if we have someone who says, you know, that was how I was raised. I didn't know any better. I'm older now and I know better. So that already, when we speak like that, that already disenfranchises them from adding their voice to this no rape. So how do we take it from someone who may have done it in the past and saying, I am a repentant, and I want to do better for the, you know? Do we give them space? Because we have a lot of people who are being called out now online for what they did in the past. And people are asking that they punish for it today. So my fear is, okay, if that's the case, then I'd rather not even be here before I'm roped into something like that. Do you get what
I understand. If somebody says I'm a repentant rapist, I'm not sure you can repent alone. What I mean is you cannot just take an individual decision that, oh, you have repented and you have moved on. That's the first level, and that's fantastic. I would congratulate the person. But I think that whoever you rape should also be involved in your forgiveness process. Because if you show up and say that you have repented, yes, we accept it. But then there are so many, or there may be 1 or 2, 3 other people that you have wounded, and they've not been able to move on with their lives. So what I think is, first of all, you take responsibility. Secondly, you apologize. Now, apology has a strategy on its own. But you cannot just categorically say that, oh, you have repented, and then to whatever with whoever that this has happened to. I'm not sure that is fair enough.
I have to go on a break. When I come back, I'd like us to touch on how the young girls, I mean, there are 2 things I want to touch on. How the young girls can pick up their lives again after they've been raped. That's number 1. Number 2, what causes these people to kill? What's that? Why do you have to kill a girl you've raped?
That's the sadistic rapist she's talking about.
So we need to now understand the emotions that is happening there. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'll take a few tweets before we go to our guest. Mariam, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so Prof Imonoka and Nakene says, this video depicts, that's the video that's been shown, depicts mental weakness and acts akin to a psychomaniac. It is egregious that some sex perverts have gone unpunished because the law trivialized it as typical of sexual misdemeanors. Boys and men are raped also. It's not a gender-based offense. So, and then Dele Omoyeni says, rape is not a passage to manhood or an act of domination. Rape is just like arrogance and greed. It's a sign that you are enormously complex.
Andrew in StarTimes says, but it's not African culture to rape. If you do it in ancient Africa, you will be executed by the village chief.
Let me go back to our guest. So I was saying before the break that the fact that these rapists end up killing their victims. Now, what's the probability that the rapist is actually somebody they know versus someone they don't? Because I think some reports are saying that there's a possibility that the reason why they kill is because they don't want to be identified. Could you please confirm this thought? Are you there, Oyinkansola?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
So there are a series of reports that say from UNICEF to other ones that I have that have confirmed that 70% of rapists are known. Right. So we may then be able to infer that, oh, okay, so after raping, of course, I don't want anybody to discover, or I don't even want you to have the capacity to express yourself, so I just kill you, and then it looks like everybody's going to move on. So we can infer at that point that it may be one of the reasons why they are doing that. But remember what I said about the types of rapists, about the fact that you have the anger and the sadistic. So some of them derive joy by not only inflicting pain, by making it look like they can end their life. At that point, it is something called mental illness.
You know, one of the reasons to people would say is that because a lot of people are speaking up against rape, and it seems that there's legislation being passed, at least in some states, for when you get caught. So people now understand that they cannot get away with it. So it's do it and make sure you clean, you know.
But we're not happy with the laws, Mariam. We want castration. That's what I mean. I think that should be the hashtag, because just sending somebody to jail or life imprisonment for us is not enough. I mean, some countries actually have to do that, to go that route. Castration, totally. And once a man says, castration, bao, they are likely not to even think about it, don't you think?
I don't think so.
I actually think that death penalty would work. Now, some people may think it's extreme, but I think that you just need about 5-10 scapegoats. When they see that the moment you rape a lady, it is not just physical death for that lady, it is also emotional death. Like you've literally killed her for at least 10 years. Then when they see that we are taking this very seriously. Now, I think one of the reasons why this has perpetuated is because of lack of consequences. So they think it will just end with hashtags. They think that it will just end in 1 week and then everybody would move on. But if they are very aware that it's death penalty, and then it is by firing squad and you will be live streamed, like all of us will take responsibility at that time.
You are very, very cruel.
Well, I don't advocate death penalty, so I don't know that I would go that route. But everybody to each his own, because I hate the violence. I hate violence in any form. But I was going to ask you, because I mentioned to Morayo and Mariam about if you find yourself in that situation with somebody you know, and you go limp, would that help? Because sometimes the people that do it, it is that you're fighting that
thrills them,
makes them more excitable. What would you say to that?
Okay, so it also depends on what is going on, because quite truthfully, we can study the mind of a rapist, but we may not even be able to know what exactly is pushing them or driving them or what they are deriving from it, except there's a diagnosis and all of that. So will that work? If it has worked before, that means that it has the capacity to work, but also it will not be a blanket.
Now, people always make this assumption. Personally, I think it's a false assumption, but hey, I have a minority view here. People always say, oh, women are very good multitaskers, you know, we just handle it, we're strong enough, we get it covered. And they expect that once you get raped, hey, get over it, move on. Are you the first one to be raped? Just be strong, you know, shegiri. And, you know, that breaks my heart, because you are forced to suppress that emotion and then just move on. We've done that for many years. My question, therefore, to you is that, do we need to go back and reopen this to be able to heal properly, or should we just move on?
Honestly, I haven't met any rape victim who has moved on, and this is me who has gone through sexual assault. So I haven't met anybody who has moved on. What I, however, have seen is that people are trying to turn their pain to power, and they're trying to turn the bullet shot at them to maximize it. So I think the first step is that I've also observed, a friend of mine did a poll and a survey last year, and he had about 4,000 people respond to the survey, and he was asking them if they thought rape was good or bad, and a good number of them did not even understand what rape was, and they were saying that what exactly is the noise about, that women enjoy rape and all of those things. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to redefine what rape is. I doubt an average male understands what rape is. For them, it's the fact that, oh, okay, if I don't penetrate, it's not this, it's not that. We need to redefine sexual assault, redefine what rape is, and then we take responsibility from there. But if anybody finds themselves at the junction where this has happened to them and they want to heal, there are different organizations who are helping in this direction. So I think I would suggest, first of all, is that you please see a therapist or a psychologist so that you can open up. And then
I think
that would be the beginning.
We'll try to get our producers to call back in.
Yeah. So, you know, there's something that they always say when they say men are moved by what they see. And I'm like, I'm raising a boy.
Okay, you're back. We didn't hear the last part of what you said.
Oh, okay. Okay, men are moved by what they see. I have a 7-year-old, and it is not what I think I would.
COVID is catching the network. All the networks.
You know, so I'm like, I'm raising a boy child. I'm raising a boy, and I want him to be a responsible man when he grows up. And when I hear that, it's as if they're saying every man is a potential rapist, a rapist waiting to happen. And I hate to think that I'm raising a child that is waiting for a that your top will move just a little bit and then your bra strap shows that, hey! And then he becomes a rapist. I hate to think that that is and I wonder how men would hear them, people describe them as such and accept it.
You know, thank God, some of us, thank God for the opportunity.
I think it's wrong.
Thank God for the opportunity to travel out of this country sometimes. Like there was a pastor that was saying that was very popular, saying men are moved by what they see. And when I went to Florida and everybody was skimpily dressed, you know how they walk on the beach and they all had their camisoles and some of them just had the bras. And I'm thinking to myself, I'd like that pastor to come here now and take one of these girls and go and rape. Because there's a system in place that will throw you in jail, which is what you're saying. There is a consequence that is not just written, but you can see it's being carried out. And that's the problem. So we have laws in Nigeria, but nobody's seeing the consequence. So you see a girl in brown underwear, and suddenly, because you're a man and you're moved by what you see, your job is to go and grab her and rape her.
But you see, in America, you know that it's a crime. If you rape somebody, or in Britain, you know, if you rape somebody, you're going to jail. And there is no savior. You are going to, if they catch you, you are going to jail. Here, you're not sure. A lot of them don't go to jail, or
and then you'll be cast out.
It's kind of, you know, even when you go to the police station, the police might be saying, you say, sister, waiting, you do, wait, you know. So but they don't castrate them in America, because I cannot agree with castration. I cannot agree with death sentence in any ramification. So. They don't kill them in America, but it's not, you can dress skimpily.
So you lock them up for a time and then you put their names down on a list of, you know, sexual offenders, and there are some things they can't do. They can't go to parks where they are children, you know, things like that. They can't teach, they can't, you know, those are the sort of things we should look at. But another thing I feel that we should start looking at is how the culture starts from when we are much younger. So we go for parties when you're in secondary school, university, and it's normal. We know that they spike your drink, and we accept it. Oh, we went for that and they spiked the Zobo, and we take it like, yay, and we move on. The police officer should come and lock that party down. Do you understand? We've just accepted it.
I never got that drink spike. I always hear that, but I've never got that drink spike. Okay, we're trying to get our guests back, but in the meantime, we're going to be having joining us now is lawyer Liborous Oshoma. Good morning, Liborous. Are you there? Liborous, are you there?
Yes, Liborous.
Thank you for joining us on the show. Liborous.
He's correcting you subtly.
Hi, Liborous. Okay, so we wanted to talk about the legal part of this. And I'm sure you've been hearing the conversation concerning justice for Uwa, the rapist issue we're going on in Nigeria right now. And we just need the legal part of this. We want to understand what the law says, because it seems the consequence for rapists in our country is quite minimal. You know, we don't have that extreme measure such that people know that when they rape, there is a huge consequence that they have to pay. Could you tell us exactly what the law states so we are clear? That's one. Number two, how do you effectively prove a case of rape in this our country? How can I prove that I was raped and I'll get justice? Those are the two questions I'd like you to address quickly.
Yeah, first and foremost, before I start, thank you for the opportunity. And then also, I would like to adopt your last statement that when people say men are moved by sight, it's an escapist approach to the issues. Even if you are moved by sight, that's why also you have self-control. So for the fact that a woman is naked, even if she's in your room and she's naked, the law says she must give consent. There's even a debate whether a man can rape his wife. In some jurisdiction, it is agreed that a man can rape his wife. That's why a wife illegally married, that she still has a consent. But while in some, they're saying that the day you say, yes, I do, you have impliedly given consent. So the idea of men are moved by sight is an escapist idea, and it should be completely jettisoned. Men are not moved by sight. So why shouldn't women be moved by sight then? And that said, rape as defined by the criminal code is the slightest penetration, the slightest, even if it's, I would go a bit descriptive, even if it's just the cap, it's rape. And so, how do you now establish slightest penetration? Medically, you need medical examination to do all of that. And so that's why some people will tell you that it's difficult, because in most cases, the victim will not want to report because of stigma. And the attitude of our security agencies too, to begin to ask, when did it happen? You mean you went to a man's room, 11 p.m., what were you doing there? Oh, how were you dressed? We need to change all of that mentality. Prosecution starts from investigation. And so, it is the investigation that established rape. And investigation is part of criminal medical examination to check the walls of the hymen. And in most cases, when the examination is conducted, the walls of the hymen will reveal that it was forcefully entered. And since the law already section, I think section 246 of the criminal code, establishes rape, and then the definition section also states that once there's a penetration, there's rape without consent. And so once that is established, it is now another hurdle that needs to be crossed. Here we say our criminal justice system grinds slowly, but we forget that justice delayed is justice denied. So the victim is stigmatized in the society, and then the windmill of justice is grinding so slow, unnecessary adjournment, and then lastly, there is sympathy on the part of, oh, leave him now, you are not the first person to be raped, like Morayo said. You are not the first person, please forgive him. Especially, I've seen a young custody of supposed man of God rape the young lady, and the church on the family to forgive the pastor that he said they shouldn't allow the devil use them to, stop the work of God, all of that. So when there's delay in the dispensation of justice, there's pressure on the concern about the
We're having these difficulties hearing you, Liborous. But while we're getting reconnected, we still have emotions doctor Oyinkansola Alabi there. So go ahead.
Okay, actually, this was for Liborous. I was going to say, sometimes, when the rape is violent, when you are tied or bitten, or everybody's on board, they get it. But when it's not violent, when you were made to fall asleep, or you were, and it happens, who are you going to, when you go to the police, who is going to listen to you? What kind of justice do you get? What kind of justice do you get for that situation?
Liborous is back.
Okay.
Did you get Mariam's question, Liborous?
Yes. Yes, I got the question.
How do you prove that it was a rape?
It wasn't consensual.
It wasn't consensual. If you were not, like you say, you were not beaten.
Drugged.
That it was not just...
You were drugged. Even the rape I described, can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. The one I described before was not a case of when you were beaten. That one, when you were beaten, is even easy. It establishes mark, but a situation where you were not beaten and you were drugged, I said that the medical examination will reveal the thing to do in investigating rape is medical examination. Is to examine the victim medically. The first point of call should be the hospital to examine medically that there was forceful entry. The walls of the hymen were bruised. All of these are elementary, and even in law school, they will tell you. So a medical doctor examine also know when you are drugged, and you know we are both adults, we are all adults. We know that the moment there's a consensual sex, you know, lubrication takes place. And so it will establish also when you carry out a medical examination that there was no forceful entry. But when there was first forceful entry, involuntary entry, especially when you are drugged or you are beaten or you are induced, you know, it will establish by examination of the walls of the hymen that truly there was forceful entry. Once that was done, once that is done, quickly, let me round up quickly. Once that is done, the medical examination will reveal all of this. And that is why once a rape occurs, the first point of call should be the hospital. If you fail to do that and you wait 1 week, 2 weeks later, it will be difficult to establish. That was why the case of Busola, Timmy Dakolo's wife, was a difficult one. It becomes your word against mine because examination was not conducted the moment it happened. So that's the first point of call.
Right.
And then all of those medical examinations will help the police to carry out questioning.
Okay.
What about, because some women, they will follow you to your room and then they will agree, you will start to do this. At this time, the woman will become lubricated. Then at the last minute, she says, okay, I don't want to do again.
Consent.
How are you going to prove
all that?
Because at this point, she's lubricated.
That the law requires. All that the law requires is at that point it becomes your word against the house. And cross-examination usually reveals all of this because it will show clearly when under cross-examination, when you now say, like the story you have narrated, that yes, we were there, she agreed, but at a point she said no. The moment she said no, she has withdrawn consent. And rape, as defined by the law, is having carnal knowledge of a woman without her consent.
All right, let me
her consent.
Let me pause you for a second. I would like to go back to our emotions doctor, Oyinkansola Alabi. You still there?
Yes, I am. Morayo.
You've been listening to Liborous the lawyer because he wanted to get the legal part of this. But I wanted you to also go to helping, or how do we help a young lady who has been through this process right now? She's watching the show. Some of them are getting a bit of therapy by coming out to say, I was raped by XYZ. Others don't have that boldness to speak, but they're hurting. What would you advise them to do at this time?
Okay, I would suggest and advise that they should please speak with a professional, not just a spiritual leader, a professional, either a therapist or a psychologist. And then there are some that they can get for free. So if they Google organizations who offer support for rape survivors and all of that, they will see some of their names. I think they need to embark on a professional route, first of all. I do not think I can suggest something that they can do for themselves or by themselves. I think they need help because they would have series of flashbacks. They would have that down moment. They would almost progress or get into mild and chronic depression. And then it depends on the quality of their emotional life before the rape. You know, so all of that put together, they would need a professional to help them through that journey. I think that is the first thing. And if they Google in less than 5 minutes, they will have at least 3 options because I know about 3 of them. Right. They have at least 3 options that they can run to.
Okay, there's a lot of opinions we get from the men whenever we speak about this. And one thing they keep saying is that this is not a female-only problem. Some of them say it has happened to them. We have Glovery's Business Solutions here says, let's look at this rape issue from another angle. What about when a lady rapes a man? I'm a grown-up man that was raped many years ago by 2 ladies. So what happens when a man comes?
And there's this, sorry, Baba says, what's the punishment for ladies who sexually assault guys? Because I have been raped 2 times.
Okay, I know that men are also raped. I accept that they are. And then I think that they should also be attended to like this. But I think the reason why sometimes they feel that we think it is just women is because women dominate. So when I say women dominate, if you look at the frequency on a scale of 1 to 10, for every 10 scenarios, it will probably be 8 or 9 tagged as women. You know, but of course, men go through this also, and then these organizations are also available to help them. So either of the genders there are more than enough help to be available in Nigeria for them. Professional help, most especially, yes.
I don't want us to discredit the spiritual part of this, because the truth is, many people do find healing via the spiritual avenue. They go to church, they get deliverance, they pray their way out of it, and they get healing, and they move on with their life, they marry, and they have successful lives. So that's an option. But people are these days, because of enlightenment and education, will feel like, go to the therapist, go to the professional, and leave the churches alone. Please? Sorry?
Can I say something in that direction?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I have been a pastor for 17 years. I know the place of spirituality, and I fully accept it. But here is how I think. I think that when we are hungry, we don't pray about it, we look for food. I think when we wake up in the morning, we hardly pray about having our bath or brushing our teeth. We do what we're supposed to do. I think that when you want to travel out, you don't pray to buy a ticket. You can pray for the finance, but you don't have to pray to buy a ticket. You go ahead and buy it. When you are ill, you see a medical doctor. So when something happens to you emotionally, go for an emotional professional. God works through everybody. So if you are anointed, there are professionals who are anointed also. So I like the spiritual part of it. I fully submit to the power of prayers. I accept it. But I also know that we don't pray before we buy fuel. We drive to a filling station, put gas in it, and we move on. So there are some things that we must submit to. Pastors are fantastic. I am one of them, but it is not every brief that pastors can handle, and we must acknowledge that reality.
Thank you so much. I wanted to go back to Liborous. Thank you very much for that comment. Liborous, I was told, and I read in the papers, that there's forensic evidence that are gathering to track down those who killed Uwa. Could you confirm if indeed we have, they said they have fingerprints on the, it's fire extinguisher, and I'm thinking, why in the United States of Nigeria? What's going on? Do we have the capacity to get forensic evidence and actually trace the suspects?
Yeah, please quickly permit me before I answer this your question directly to talk about rape. You know, said some guys also have been raped by women. Yeah. That's a big problem, a legal problem. The best it can be is assault, because as defined in our laws is penetration. The question is, can a woman penetrate a man? You know, that had been the debate, whether a woman can rape a man, until the laws are amended to accommodate, to redefine what rape is. The best that can happen is that you say the woman assaulted the man sexually, and not that can be defined as rape. That said, but also, guys, there's need attention, especially young boys who are being assaulted and sexually molested by house helps and you know, older lady. That's a topic for another day. Then on the issue of forensic evidence and gathering, our policemen, if they want to work, they work. If you want to know whether our policemen can do something, just attack a policeman or let, you know, criminals, you know, kill a policeman. That's the day you will know that our policemen have the equipment to do something. And so, if you remember, if you want to travel abroad, they tell you to go to Alagbon, to get fingerprint clearance that you have not committed an offense before. Yeah, some of us just think it is, you know, just for formality, you just take a fingerprint and you go. But that has gone because we do not, you know, a system to synergize. But I also can tell you that truly, if they want to, because they have the records of the criminals. Some of them have records of criminals. So if, you know, for a case like this, that is this, that generated this kind of popularity and sensation, what they do sometimes, they run this fingerprint through their own records, internal records. Because for people to commit this kind of heinous crime, they probably would have been to police station no more than 2, 3, 4 times. And so police would have those records. And so what they basically do, they run through their records first. Let me give you an instance. A friend of mine was kidnapped in that Benin area. When the policemen visited the scene of the crime, the moment they picked up the bullet shells, one of the police said, this is not a G hand work. So that means they know the criminals.
Thank you so much.
Don't worry, we know these people.
Thank you so much, Liborous. We have to wrap up on that, but it's always a pleasure having you to share your thoughts on the show. Going back to our emotional doctor, Oyinkansola Alabi, I know you have something you're working on. Tell us about it.
Okay, so Emotional Intelligence Week starts today, which is the annual week that we host Nigerians to discuss mental health and emotional stability, and it's usually for free. This is the 4th edition for the 4th year. It runs from today till Saturday, the 6th of June with Mr. Aliki Older. And then we host the Brightest, just speaking about mental health, emotional stability for free on YouTube. So as many Nigerians, Africans, everybody watching TVC are reliable and dependable TV station. Please tune in. We need to start educating ourselves, redefining, re-engineering. At this particular time, rape against one is rape against all. And all of us need to stand on the line to say that we are not just human beings, we are human, because there's a difference between being a human being and being human. You can be a human being and not be human. So at this particular time, we need to put humanity first, not race, not religion, not color, nothing, but humanity. And that's what we're discussing. And we will be discussing by 5 p.m. today, all through till Saturday.
Fantastic. Please, what's the difference between a human being and a human?
Good. So when you say somebody is a human being, that's what almost all of us are. When you say somebody is being human, they have compassion and empathy.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Once you lack both of them, you are just a human being, you are not human.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure having you. We've been speaking with the emotions doctor, Oyinkansola Alabi. Interesting show today. We've heard quite a few information, and again, justice for Uwa, continuous hashtag, and justice for Tina. And generally, justice for every woman and man that have been raped out there. We continue to speak, and we hope
sexually assaulted.
And we hope that this is not just going to be a hashtag or a one-week campaign, and we all go back to normal. We hope that this could be on the front burner, and people continue to talk about it until justice is served. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.